What is up, everybody? Steve here. Today I have the August report from HUD. I want to go over it with you guys. As always, every month I pull this report to talk about what's coming directly from HUD. So let's just dive into it and you guys can give me some of your thoughts below as well. National housing market indicators available as of August showed activity in housing market overall slowed. I'm sure most of you guys are seeing the headlines. Sometimes those headlines are a little skewed as well in terms of what kind of narrative they're pushing. Some narratives are still ridiculous of pushing people to go ahead and buy a house at the height of a housing bubble. Purchases of new homes slumped to their lowest pace since January 2016. New single-family homes declined 12.6% to 511,000 units in July from a pace of 585,000 units in June. And that's down almost 30% year over year. Now we have to remember too, new home sales, they're based on a purchase agreement and not necessarily a closed sale either. The indications from basically resale properties. So they're based on purchase agreements. So you have to also understand we have a large amount of people that are actually backing out of new construction purchase agreements as well. So we have to take that into consideration. Existing home sales declined for the sixth straight month, reaching the lowest level since May 2020. NAR reported July sales of existing homes fell 5.9% to 4.81 million units from a pace of 5.11 million in June, and were down 20% year over year. House price appreciation decelerated in June with annual gains ranging from 16.2 to 18.6%. Inventory of homes for sale rose. The listed inventory of new homes for sale at 464,000 units at end of July increased 3.1% month over month, 28.2% year over year. This is fantastic signs because we do need more inventory coming to market, which is going to stabilize pricing. Available homes, existing homes for sale were at 1.31 million units in July. That's an increase of 4.8% month over month, but will remain the same year over year. That inventory represents 3.3 months supply, up from 2.9 months in June. I would say a healthy market is between 5 and 6 months roughly in terms of supply of inventory. Now, it said it remained the same for year over year, and the thing is, we have a lot of sellers that are on the sidelines because they are locked in with incredible interest rates. And why would they sell a property if they have a good 30-year fixed, 2.8% mortgage? That's very hard to give up based on future wants. So I think there's going to be a lot of people that are just kind of stuck with houses regardless if they have buyer's remorse or not. They have such a great interest rate that they're just going to stay. They're going to stay there for the long term. So I foresee we're actually going to probably see an uptick of home renovations maybe down the road when things settle out, maybe even additions to houses as well, because people are reluctant to sell those houses. And if they have the funds, and maybe people are taking HELOC loans to add additions if they are growing families and everything else. But I think that a lot of people are going to be reluctant to sell houses that have really good interest rates. And then you have another sector, and I talked about this in other videos, of I believe we're going to see high unemployment. And unfortunately, people are going to be forced one way or another to have to get rid of that property. Forbearance on mortgage loans continued to decline. These are people that are either selling their properties, they worked a loan modification of some sort, they did a refinance, but survey shows share of homeowners with mortgages and forbearance was 0.74%, which is 370,000 households in July, down from 3.4% 1 year ago. Now, this is the tough part to talk about: housing insecurity. Census Household Pulse Survey shows that approximately 14.2% or 6.36 million renter households were behind on rental payments. This is a big problem, guys. On average, renter households were 2.1 months behind on their payments. 2.85 million renter households feared eviction was imminent in the next 2 months. We have 6.36 million people not paying their rent. This is bad. This is only going to lead into more devastation in the housing market. I'm going to predict we're going to see landlords start to sell off properties because they're just sick and tired of government intrusion, of them not being able to collect rents as well. And unfortunately, a lot of people are having squatters, non-paying tenants, and they're just sick and tired of being landlords. So I think we're going to see more of that inventory hit the market. The Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Program, 3.19 million renters have applied and received rental assistance. That's going to dry up. There's only so much bailout and so much government money and welfare money, or whatever you want to call it, that's going to subsidize people that are unable to pay. And unfortunately, that money is drying up. And when it completely dries up, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to move in with family members, a lot of people that might even become homeless, unfortunately. HUD estimates that 5.21% or 4.14 million homeowner households were behind on their mortgage payments. And then about 800,000 homeowners feared foreclosure was imminent in the next 2 months. 4.14 million homeowner households are behind on their mortgage payments. That's telling in itself. That's a lot of people not paying on their mortgages. And unfortunately, we still have a backlog of people who haven't been paying. And I don't even know if this is taking into consideration even delinquencies far back in advance, where they're already going through the foreclosure process. And also, we have a certain amount of shadow inventory of properties that have already been foreclosed on. So these banks, a lot of them still have this inventory. And I've done other videos on this where I was a listing agent or a listing broker for multiple asset managers. And basically, when we would take over the asset to go ahead and list on the open market, they already had field managers out there taking care of the properties. And these are properties that, again, they got foreclosed on. And if you look at the sign-in sheet, you can look, and sometimes the initial sign-in was like not just months, but sometimes years prior to. So, and I know in some circumstances, they took over that property from non-paying mortgagees, and they didn't necessarily foreclose on it yet, but they want to protect the asset. So they would send people out if they saw that the property was vacant. Then they would go and do what they needed to do to protect the asset. So I know some of those sign-in sheets were before they actually got foreclosed on. So I think we're going to see, and I don't think it's really talked about, but I think we're going to see a certain amount of that shadow inventory start to trickle in as well. So we will see. Anyway, as always, this is going to be in the description below for you guys, so you guys can read up on it. This is just the front page analysis. It's like a 8 to 10 page full-on report that you guys have access to. So click on that, take a look at it, and as always, I appreciate you guys being here with me today. Thanks a lot.